Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 10th episode of the AI Healthcare Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Reed, and today we are joined with my friend, Manuel Mitola, who's on a mission to normalize AI in pharma marketing and sales. Thank you for being here, Manuel.
My pleasure, Dylan. Thank you very much for the invitation. Happy to be here with you.
Of course, same here. And what made you realize that AI in healthcare was the field for you?
Well, that's a very good question because I started working with the AI a few years ago, and it was back to 2019 when I first published a contribution to a book that, by the way, it became Amazon bestseller in Italy for a while, and it was AI for marketing, and basically I suddenly felt in love, let's say, with this new technology. First of all, because of its potential. From the very beginning, it was clear that it was a big change, because of course it was introducing something that was usually belonging to the human being. So it was something related to the core business, let's say, of the human brain. And if I think about my journey into the pharmaceutical industry that started back to 2015, so I mean a few years ago, let's say, I started with the classical digital marketing. I started working with the search engine optimization. I started with the email, the website, all the already nowadays classical stuff. But of course, there was always the need of finding the right channel, the right mix, the right content, and there was a production of a massive amount of data. But then the problem was how to use all this data, how to make sure that we were leveraging on the, let's say, on this great research, and AI came into the scene and provided an answer. So I started working on the AI for this reason, because the impact that the AI promised at those time and that we are seeing today
Hmm.
was something that make me feel very interested and very, let's say, excited about this technology, because at the end of the day, working into the pharmaceutical industry, it means having a direct impact on people lives,
Hmm.
people well-being. And so increasing this potential, it means having a major impact. That's the reason why I decided to run with it within this career.
Hmm. And pre AI, just to have some historical context,
Mhm.
how are pharmaceutical products marketed on the European continent, specifically in Italy?
Yeah, before the AI, whenever it comes to, let's say, marketing a new product in Europe and, let's say, in Italy, of course there were several steps. Of course, you need the regulatory approval from EMA to AIFA in Italy, for example, and then you have to pass through several steps. And this is something that, of course, goes hand in hand with the company effort to bring the product to the market, and ultimately to physicians and to patients. And the steps are, let's say, still the same somehow, pre and post AI, because of course this is something that AI is very recent technology, and these rules have, didn't change because of AI. Of course, there are some changes, but what the AI did in terms of marketing a product was to help and support the companies in streamlining the processes.
Hmm.
So AI is something that increase a lot the productivity of the operation of a company.
Hmm.
So of course it is something that, theoretically speaking, can also improve the speed of bringing that solution, bringing the drugs to the final users. So let's say the steps are still the same. What is changed is the productivity behind, and so the speed of making this happen.
Mm-hmm. And the last time we talked about it, I remember you were saying that each specific state in Italy kind of has their own regulatory procedures. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, basically, in Italy, of course, there is one regulatory agency at national level. What I was referring to, and of course, I'm not, let's say, an expert of each singular regulation in Italy, but um, in terms of access, in terms of um, let's say marketing of the drugs in Italy, we have to consider that there are slightly different regulation depending on the regions of Italy, and of course this is something that is important when a company wants to let's say make a drug available in Italy.
Mm-hmm. And to kind of to broaden out kind of your previous ideas, could you just give us an overview of how AI adoption has been going in pharmaceuticals right now in Europe, and kind of what has been the biggest delay so far from what you've seen?
Yeah, I think the adoption of the AI at the moment in Europe is different from the US because I think it is and that's my perception. Maybe I could be wrong, but I see it as a little bit slower
Mm-hmm.
in terms of adoption. In Europe, I see an adoption that differs a lot depending on the company that it is behind. Of course, I cannot say the name of the companies that I see on one side or the other, but I can tell you that there are major companies that are, let's say, investing a lot, that are way advanced into the adoption of the AI, both in R&D, commercial operation, medical, and they are sharing it and they are showing off that they are doing great stuff. There are companies that are, for example, hiring AI heads, AI specialists into the commercial area, and it means that they are investing a lot there. On the other side, there are other companies that are lagging behind, and it reminds me a lot when it was let's say uh, the digital area
Mm-hmm.
a few decades ago, let's say, when there were companies that were just starting, some other more advanced, and so on. So I think in terms of market, there is a broad heterogeneity in terms of companies, and it really depends on the company, and the adoption is very different.
Mm-hmm. And kind of my last question is, how has GDPR kind of impacted your ability to positively showcase the benefit of AI in pharmaceutical marketing and sales?
Yeah, GDPR, let's say, when it comes to data in Europe, is always something that has an impact. Of course, I mean, the privacy of people data is critical, is super important. And of course, let's say, using the data, especially when it comes to the healthcare field, when it comes to the industry I belong, this kind of data must be super protected somehow. And of course, the GDPR is there to protect the
Mm-hmm.
privacy of people and so on. Of course, we have to consider that GDPR, I mean, is relatively new rule, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, but it started in 2016. And if you look at GDPR, it is not even explicitly mentioning the AI. So that's a regulation that came not before the AI because it already exists, but came before AI was something broadly known. And of course, the GDPR is something that also is somehow a little bit vague, on the prescription. It is you can also look at GDPR, and I mean, start interpretation of the regulation, and so on. And I can tell you, usually speaking, the pharma companies are quite conservative and risk adverse in
Mm,
Europe, and of course, uh, when it comes to protect people data, they are very conservative. So they prefer to, let's say, interpret the GDPR in the most conservative way. What does it mean? It means that if you look at the AI, of course, AI is a software on one
mm,
side, but it is also a lot data. So if you apply somehow a limitation on the usage of this data, of course you have an impact on that. And this is valid not only for the pharma industries, but it is valid for across, let's say, this is valid across several other industries. And what you see in the US, what you can do in the US is way different from what you can do into the European field. I'm very curious, let's say, to see the outcomes of the other regulation that is coming and that started in back to 2021. That is the AI Act, and that's something that, of course, Europe is leading the scene, leading the way, and
mhm,
it is expected, to be released soon. The idea, of course, to have this AI Act finish it, complete it, and so on, is something that will have a major impact on the usage of AI. And here, I think Europe can play, um, let's say, an important role
mhm,
globally in order to have, let's say, a risk-based approach of the usage of the AI, because the AI Act will is supposed to split the regulation depending on the risk level of the AI application. So there are certain application of AI that are considered low risk, and there
mm,
are some other that are considered, say, unbearable risk, too high risk, like, for example, social proofing AI. So to give a score to you, as for example, as a citizen, and so that's a very high risk AI application. So based on that, it will be very different, the regulation, and I think it's a very good approach. Personally, if I can, let's say, share my 2 cents here on on this fact, I think that taking into account the risk of an application and then apply the regulation, I think is a very good approach in order to avoid the on one side to miss the opportunity, and on the other side to be, let's say, not enough conservative for the application that, of course, brings some risk, because
mm,
AI treats data.
mm.
That's
And
and if you are treating data, of course, there are some risk associated with that.
mhm. And what has been like one trend that you have seen that's becoming kind of more popular or that's starting to get noticed in pharma marketing and sales, specifically in
Yeah,
Europe?
I recently had a very interesting discussion at a congress where I was moderating a session about the usage of AI for, let's say, for commercial and marketing purposes. And I have, let's say, a list of use cases that were the use cases that were most mentioned across the industries. And I can tell you there were a lot of representatives of very big and important companies, even in the top 20 pharma industry. So, one thing that was very, let's say, common and widely adopted is the so called next best action.
Hmm.
That's somehow recommendation system in order to, let's say, make sure that the marketing action, the sales action are following a specific path that is recommended by AI. So the AI is analyzing the data and making sure that the engagement with your customer, with the physician, and so on, is aligned with what is the best action in order to improve the experience. Then there is a lot of hype, a lot of trends around digital assistants.
Hmm.
So, GTPT, ChatGPT recently released, OpenAI actually recently released the new GPT function. And of course, it brings on the table the possibility to create customized digital assistants. And so that's another big thing that I saw on the table from many companies. Together with that, the personalized content, that's another thing. I mean, I also heard about hyper personalized content, meaning that if we go on a website, I will see certain kind of content, you will see a different kind of content, and that's quite powerful, so it will be super tailored. And these are, let's say, the trends, together with the automated let's say, tagging of content, automated content creation, um, chatbot, mainly for internal use, as as you know, more
Hmm.
conservative approach. And then also chatbots open to the external public, either patients or healthcare providers. So these are the, let's say, the use cases that I heard the most.
Hmm. Awesome. No, that's great. And where can people find you, Manuel, to learn kind of more about you and kind of your mission to normalize AI pharma marketing and sales?
Well, I publish a lot of content on my LinkedIn account. So let's say every day, almost every day, I study, I test, and then I publish the results of the application on my LinkedIn account. My focus is on commercial and sales and marketing areas application, because AI is a very broad topic, is a very broad subject matter. So, of course, I am not an expert of molecule R&D with AI. So, I'm a marketeer, and I am using AI as a tool
Mm-hmm.
for my work. So, mainly I publish on LinkedIn, and then recently I created a YouTube account that it is called AI for Pharma. And within this YouTube account, I publish all the videos. I produce a lot of video tutorials, and also recording from the congresses where I am invited as a speaker,
Hmm.
or where I attend and listen to other expert opinions.
Yeah. You've been traveling a lot recently too, as well.
Yeah, yeah. My wife is telling me that I'm traveling too much. I can tell you.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's great.
Yeah.
But thank you again. And do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Podcast episodes are also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And do not forget to check out my newsletter, The AI Healthcare Report, on LinkedIn. This is Dylan Reed signing off. Thank you so much for your time, Manuel. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. See you soon.
See you soon.